Today's video is going to be a little different, but I'm trying to keep content coming every week, and going to try to make videos every week all the way through the winter. There's not a lot of farming goes on in January and February, so I'm going to just keep you up to date on what we do in the winter time. This is our 1985 Ford L9000 dump truck. We've got to go up to, it's not really the mountains, but to us it's the mountains, in the next couple of days, and pick up a big load of pumpkins that we've got sold. We didn't have quite enough to fill the order, so we got to go pick up a load. And after that, we're going to be cutting soybeans here before long, so we need the dump truck going. And the dump truck, it don't get used all the time, but when we need it, we need it. So try to keep it in good shape. But we had a problem. If you drove it for 15 minutes or so and it was under a heavy load out on the road, it would start running warm. I just really started investigating it, and come to find out, it has slung, the water pump belt has disintegrated, and it is conveniently located in the very back behind all these other belts. So I've kind of already started a little bit, but we have to take every belt off the front of the engine in order to replace this water pump belt. I was concerned that the water pump may have locked up, and that's why the belt came off, but I can't reach in there from this side, but take my word for it, the water pump's free. It feels good, it turns good, so we are going to take all these belts off, put a new water pump belt on. I just knocked a 5/8 wrench off, and I just spent 15 minutes searching the ground everywhere in this engine compartment. And how does that even happen? It took me just a minute looking at it to figure out how the fan adjusts. But you see this arm comes out, and this is where the hub for the fan is. It mounts on this piece of cast right here. There's 4 bolts, and then there's 1 bolt in the top that adjusts it so that it slides up and down. Kind of interesting. I've never really worked on big trucks very much, but that's a unique setup. I'm sure it's common on all the Cummins, and maybe common on a lot of big trucks, but it was a new one on me. So getting these 2 belts off of this fan has proven to be much more difficult than I anticipated. This truck has, at some point in its life, had a aftermarket air conditioner put on it, and it is all up in the way. If it wasn't for that, this would be fairly straightforward, because you could reach right in this general area where you can't now. There we go. Now, these 2 belts are loose enough that if I had 2 hands, I could walk them off the end of this pulley, and I'm ready to put that back belt on. So the tensioner pulley, if you can see it back in there, for the water pump is going to be a real peach to get to with this air conditioning compressor in the way as well. I wonder how long this part has been riding here. I'm not sure what it's supposed to go to, but I'm betting it's something up top of the engine. It's been riding behind the water pump tensioner. Potentially could have went through the water pump belt, and maybe the reason it doesn't have a water pump belt on it right now. This is one of the better aftermarket air conditioning jobs I've seen. Some of them are kind of junky, not very well done, but it is still all up in the way of what I'm trying to do right here. That bolt right down in there is the tensioner bolt. I got the bolt through the pulley loose, and now we got to back this off. Water pump belt's on. Now we just gotta put all this other mess back together. Got a fan, air conditioning, power steering, and 2 fan belts. So the water pump belt is back on. All that's left now is to put everything else back together. This is actually, fun fact, this is actually what I went to college for, is to be a mechanic. And I'm reminded every time I have to do something and skin my arms and my knuckles up, I'm reminded why I decided to take a different path. Alright, now we just got to tighten this fan back up and tighten these bolts. We've about got this project wrapped up. One of 2 things that you have to have if you're thinking about starting farming. You either have to have a little bit of diverse mechanical ability and ability to diagnose problems, or you need to have a lot of money. Because you may think that everything goes just perfectly and flows smoothly and we never have breakdowns, but this is a pretty common occurrence to be working on a bunch of junk. We've got a lot of equipment around here. Not a lot, but we do have some equipment around here, but most of it is someone else's worn out junk. Never over tighten your belts. Stuff will run longer with a loose belt than it ever will with a tight belt. Kind of like a wheel bearing. I always say, if you think your bearing might be too tight, you might want to back it off a notch, because it'll run a whole lot longer loose than it ever will tight. If you get a bearing too tight, it's kind of the same concept. When your belt's too tight, that's making your bearing too tight. And it will not run if it ain't got enough clearance. It won't run very long. And just like that, with a little frustration and a few drop tools that had to climb down and walk around to get. We got a water pump belt on. So I'm going to see if it'll run, or see if it'll pump water now, and check our antifreeze level, get some antifreeze treatment in it. But I appreciate you watching. I know this isn't my normal farming video, but just trying to paint an accurate picture of everything that has to go on the farm to make it operate. So I appreciate you watching. If you're one of the ones that watch my videos all the way to the end, I really appreciate that. That plays in a big role in YouTube's algorithm as to how they rank videos and how frequently they get recommended is based on the amount of watch time. And so I appreciate you if you watch my videos to the end. And stay tuned, more videos coming. I'll see you next time.